Pastor Julianne Smeck.
Hi, I'm Susan Lenhart, and this is my husband, Michael.
My name is Pearl Clopton.
My name is Janet Ligon, formerly Janet Hendricks.
I'm Muriel Scruggs, and this is my husband, Morris Scruggs.
My name is Lori Thompson.
I'm Frank Nelson.
I'm Doris Nelson.
My name is Darren.
My name is Carl Rayburn.
I'm Ruthann Elenko, my husband, Peter Elenko.
My name is Aubrey Finches.
My name is Nancy Kofer.
I'm Elizabeth Washington.
This is Mike Carraher.
George and Beverly Chavis.
I'm Kurt Callio.
Hi, I'm Bill Alsnauer. My wife is Karen.
Hi, my name's Adam Viney.
My name is Gay Steele.
Don and Shirley Huber.
I'm Barbara McDaniel.
My name is Tammy Carraher. I have been a member here for about 37 years.
I joined Hope Lutheran Church in 1988.
I've been at Hope for as long as I can remember. I was baptized here.
I've been a member along with my children, my 5 children, at Hope since 1992, around 1992.
I have been a member of Hope Lutheran Church for over 40 years. I have been a member of Hope Church since I was 5 years old, which since I'm 75, that is 70 years.
How long have you been coming to Hope?
I've been coming to Hope ever since 1972.
And I have been coming to Hope since 2004.
And I have been at Hope since November of 2019.
My family and I have been coming to Hope for the last 40 years.
I've been here since I was a baby. I got baptized here.
And we're at our 29th year at Hope, pushing our 30th. But anyway, we've been here 29 years, I think, at this point. Make that 28. A while. We moved to Columbus in 93, so we would have joined Hope in 94. So that would make it a little over 28 years now.
It's been 58 years.
I've been a member here for about 10 years.
Started coming in 2012.
We were one of the first African American families to come to Hope Church back in the 60s. I believe we joined in 1964 or 65. I'm really not clear of the year. I was baptized here. I was confirmed here in 1976. And I was married here in 2010.
You started going, you've been married 52 years.
So about 54, 4 years.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
1973. 1973. Is the last gift my dad gave me. I had been out of the church for a couple years. Doris was going to a church, a different church. And my dad passed away, and I had to help get the funeral organized. And of course, we were at the funeral, and I liked the service. So we started attending Hope Church after that, after my dad passed. I've been there ever since, and that was 1973.
I first came to Hope in 1984.
And I had the honor of serving with the people of Hope in ministry for some 6.5 years as pastor, first as interim and later as full-time called pastor here.
I have been going to this church for around 10 years now, or maybe 11.
And I've been going to Hope for many years. I can't say how many, but quite a few.
1965.
1965, okay.
We joined the congregation in 1970. So we've been here 52 years, believe it or not.
We were married here in '86, and I was coming on and off since then, and became a member in 2004.
I've been coming to Hope Lutheran Church since about 1974. I was about 10 years old. My sister Jennifer, she's the reason why we started coming to this church. This church, we were in the Baptist church, and went to a place, I believe I was at Mount Olive for a while, but we came here, and I found it to be a very inviting church, and I've been coming ever since.
My goodness.
Well, anyway, a man came through the neighborhood. We hadn't been long moved out on Berkeley Road because we had lived on Jefferson Avenue. And a man came through the neighborhood and he asked us our names and things, and then he said, would you come to Hope Lutheran Church over on Lily Avenue? We're inviting the black neighborhood into our white church. And so we would be glad to have you. And he was the minister at Hope Church at that time. And he went from door to door because I watched him. And my mother said, that's close to us. Said, where did you say? He said, over on Lily, the next street over. And so she said, that's close to us. And because at that time I was working at University Hospital, I just happened to be off that day when he came through. But he went from door to door knocking and asking the neighbors, the black neighbors in the neighborhood, to come to Hope Lutheran Church, to come in and visit them and maybe join or something. And that's how we got into Hope Lutheran Church. We decided to come and see how it was, and we liked it, and we joined. So that's how we got into Hope Lutheran Church. And we've been there ever since. That was, I can't remember the year, but it was like we hadn't been living out there too long. 1950 something, I think it was. That's how we got into Hope, was the minister went through the neighborhood and invited the people that lived in the neighborhood to come to Hope, because it was at the time was solidly white neighborhood. And we finally decided and went to visit and ended up joining Hope Lutheran Church. They asked us to be members.
My husband, Harold, my two sons, Harold Jr., Bruce, and my daughter, Tori, we moved into the Driving Park neighborhood on Lily Avenue back in 1963. And then in 1964, Hope Lutheran Church decided they were going to invite people within the neighborhood to come and visit Hope Church. After a lot of discussion, they formed evangelism task groups, and Emma Bell and Roland Hepner came to visit with my husband and my family and invited us to Hope. So we all came and visited, and we became members of Hope Lutheran Church in 1964. My mother, who lived in Atlanta, Georgia, came up to Columbus, Ohio when my father died, and she too became a member of Hope Lutheran Church. Her name was Susie Barnes, and she was here until she died.
I was invited by a colleague that I worked with at Children's Hospital to visit this congregation at the time that our two children were young. and she thought it would be a good fit for us because we were an interracial marriage, and our children at the time were about 18 months and 4 years old. So we've been here ever since. It was indeed a perfect fit.
We joined here because we knew Pastor Lind, who was here at the time, and we knew what the congregation had been through in terms of its successful attempt to diversify and stay in the neighborhood. So, and we live nearby. So those things just kind of came together.
And we also had adopted a daughter from Korea, and there were other adoptive parents here.
There were lots of positives in terms of diversity, inclusivity, and so on. It was really good for us.
I was looking for a church home. I was raised a Lutheran. My home church is St. Philip's Lutheran in Baltimore, Maryland, where I was confirmed in 1960. I came to Hope, and at that time, Andrew Hendricks was the greeter. And he said, "Good morning, come in," had a smile. He said, "Oh, and you have a little girl," because I was recently divorced. And she said, "Oh, Papa." She thought he was her great-grandfather. And so I said, "I guess we're home."
We came to Hope for really practical reasons. I was the pastor at Capitol at the time, and we had services at 10:45, and I wanted my children to be able to have Sunday school and whatever all went with that. But I also was hoping they could worship with me at Capitol. So we were looking for a church that had Sunday school that fit that schedule. And it turned out that Hope had Sunday school that fit that schedule. We were also invited to come by Gay Steele, who was a friend of mine at Capitol. We worked together there. She is the director of multicultural affairs, and I was a university pastor. And she said, "Well, why don't you come visit my church?" And so we did. The schedule fit, and it's been a wonderful time. The 28 years here have been very, very special. And I'm delighted that we joined here for very pragmatic reasons, but have stayed here for many other reasons.
When I first came, how willing the people were to accept me and to include me in things. It was just great.
My sister started going to Hope, and she liked it very well. And so she said, "Why don't you come and go?" And so I did, and I liked it well.
One of my neighbors brought me here, and the first time I came, I felt so comfortable, and it was so warm, and I've never left.
And we decided to go church shopping. My only criteria was to go someplace where nobody knew us. And the first Sunday I said, "Let's go down to Hope." And we got here and we were greeted by a wonderful woman by the name of Helen Hendricks, who's since passed. And what was funny is we came in, we sat down, and about a minute later she came up, and I knew that I was sitting in her seat. And it was kind of funny. She goes, no, you take that seat. She was very gracious and had a twinkle in her eye. So the next Sunday when we came back, she sat somewhere else, I forget where, and I looked and she pointed over to her seat. She goes, "You sit there, that's your seat now." And that was just fun and kind of hooked me.
I joined Hope because of the people, and I've given this some kind of thought about what it was about the people that attracted me to Hope. It was the diversity of the congregation, and when I say diversity, not necessarily just in terms of race and ethnicity, but in age groups. There was a number of people that were my age and very active in the church, but there was also a group of women that when I attended Circle, that were a generation above me but served as faith mentors to me. Women that were there to help my generation of women grow in our faith. Those experiences and the caring of the members of each other made this a true church family and not just a congregation. When we consider ourselves ministers of the church, we've all, I think, ministered to one another. And so there is such a feeling of love and acceptance at this church.
The pure joy in this congregation that accepted us. They didn't know who the heck we were or where we came from, but
And then they found out, it was like,
then they opened their hearts to us. It was too late.
I really enjoy when we have food after the services, since it just brings everybody together. We get to talk and socialize. We get to just enjoy our time together and worship more.
Hope is just woven, like I said in my parents' tribute, it's woven into the fabric of my life, into the fabric of my family's life, and I just don't know what I would do without it.
All together, we've been a family here at church, at Hope Church, and I can't imagine not being a part of Hope.
Hope's legacy to me is, you know, when they had the great meeting that basically allowed blacks to come here, it really was, the legacy I remember is that basically they drew a line in the sand. They said basically, we're changing. It was big. It had a great impact on the numbers of people that left. But, you know, I think the legacy is people who stand tall, stand strong. And that's what Hope's about. I met some of my, when you say memories of people, I mean, I met men who helped raise me here. You know, my father was had a massive stroke in 1984, and I was able to meet men who like Mr. Huber, Mr. Nelson, and of course, the guy that almost brings a tear to my eye, Mr. Hendricks. He was one of the greatest inspiration in my life, along with, of course, my father. So I think it's just been a great community, and it's been a great resource for the Driving Park area.
The legacy for me, it's a big part of my life, and it's a big stronghold for me also as a support system. So there's a lot of good friends here, but there also is my church family here.
I think Hope's legacy is that they've been able to form a diverse community in the midst of stressful situations, and that they've been able to continue. That's not something that many congregations have been able to do. Even in my former congregation, we got really close to being a more diverse place, but people couldn't do it. They couldn't stick with it. But here, people have continued and have discovered this, the grace and joy of being church together.
I taught history for 40 years, so I like anecdotes. So here's one little anecdote from the history. We had an Indian student from India at the seminary for a while, and she came down here and she loved this church. She just absolutely loved it. She was a Christian from India, and she worshiped very faithfully with us, I think, for 2 years. So then she went home. She was not an immigrant, she was going back home. So she went back home, and about 10 years later, I looked around one day, just kind of glanced over my shoulder or something, and there she was. She had come back for some reason to the United States, I think a meeting or something. She was a professional person. And so she came to Hope, went out of her way to come to Columbus and to come to Hope Church. I don't think the meeting was in Columbus. She made a point of getting here and being here on Sunday morning so she could experience worship here that one Sunday. Haven't seen her since, but that was really touching. I mean, that she would go to all of that trouble. So we've had many good memories here.
That all people, no matter what their background may be, can fit together well if you make the effort. And you can be one people and love each other no matter what. Being a part of the neighborhood, I've heard a neighbor say one time, there's problems in the neighborhood, but they said, if Hope Church wasn't here, it'd be a lot worse. So there's a spiritual essence that we give the neighborhood, maybe that makes it a little bit better than what it would be without us.
Our legacy, I think, is love and commitment. And Hope has given us that kind of spiritual grounding and helped us along the way, and we're passing it on to the next generations.
I think being there also has blessed our marriage. You know, it's something that we move as a unit rather than individually in a spiritual way. It can be a really wonderful blessing. So
Family that prays together, stays together, worships together, stays together. It helps
it
a
does
lot.
help. It
Yeah.
does.
So it's Hope Church is relevant. It's present and involved. So all those things, those are legacies. A legacy we'll remember.
What I think for the future of Hope, this is 100 years. I hope that there will be a vibrant celebration for 125 years. We've had friends come back to the church and say, I never thought Hope would still be open. So we've proved some people wrong, and I hope we can continue to prosper.
There are reasons why we're located where we are. I think God has made that happen, and we just, that's something that certainly needs to continue way beyond us.
There's that, my favorite song, Sweet, Sweet Spirit. There's that sweet spirit here at Hope. I feel that God is here at Hope, and I feel that this is what keeps us going. We don't have to be large in numbers, but because of what we are able to do with the people that we have, it covers a lot of territory.
Yeah, I know during my tenure, and I know from listening to people after that Hope has continued to wrestle with how best to be a presence here in this community, and that's a difficult task. But I'm encouraged by the fact that there's still interest and energy in doing that, and I hope that energy and commitment continues.
Hope has always been, my understanding at least, as long as I've been here, and from what people have told me who were here before, is that Hope has always been engaged in this community. There was a lady named Miss Cleo who lived in a house behind the church, and she always did the summer feeding program, which was outreach, which meant that she served lunch every day for children in this area. I think at one time there was a Head Start program here in this church. Since I've been here, we've always had Vacation Bible School, and even though a lot of the children in this community don't go to church here, they would come for Vacation Bible School. We've had programs of bringing in food and doing food distribution once a month, clothing distribution. So I think this church has always been engaged in this community. Ditto.
Hope is strong.
Hope will always be a church that wants to be a light in the Driving Park community.
The significant thing in '64 was to have an open door policy. And I think Hope's future and future in Driving Park is to be more than an open door, but people who are engaged, who are out and building connections that we don't really see right now, but if we are open and faithful and prayerful, God opens more doors. I guess God probably opened the church's door, but now God can open more.
Well, I hope that it will still continue to grow as far as the fellowship is concerned, will continue to grow and to be a blessing, not only to Hope, but to the neighborhood.
That they continue to be a beacon of light in the Driving Park area. They continue to open their doors to the community. It's not a matter of members, it's a matter of service to the community.
So I think that the legacy of Hope is that it helps us be more resilient because we know that there is more than what we can see. We have a God who is a God of the future as well as the past, as well as the present. and that wherever we are, God is there. We don't really know what the future holds, but God will always be there, whatever it holds. And that for me is the legacy of Hope.
Well, Hope has been here almost 100 years, and I've been here 58 of those years, actually a member, and I've seen many changes. I've seen times when we thought, you know, we probably wouldn't exist, but each time we have, with the changes, Hope has changed. And we're still here, and we're still serving people. We hope to continue to do that. And I see Hope in the future as if the building and the people are still here, we will be a beacon of hope to spread the gospel, to help other people, and just be what God would have us do.
The smile from the kingdom of God in the heart is the smile that we wear every day. And the peace in our souls, may it never depart, but cheer others along life's way. We will carry it on wherever we go, though the way be dark all the while. We will light the path with the love we know. Shines out in the Hope Lutheran smile. The love from the kingdom of God is the light that shines out in our smile every day. And the joy in our hearts, may it ever be bright, to help others to live God's way. We will carry it on wherever we go, though the way be dark all the while. We will light the path with the love we know. Shines out in the Hope Lutheran smile.
Pretty good. I'm not, like I said, when you get to be my age, your memory come and go, so we're gonna wing it.
I'm just supposed to talk.
He's gonna have a lot to edit here. He's gonna have a lot to edit. After you get to send mine to Hollywood, take it out. Yep.
Tell him to keep dreaming.
Smile.
None of that, you know. Thank you, madam.
Okay, is it running right now?
Okay, I'll just stay out here and keep people out. Well, we're gonna be in the triple rooms, but are there lists of questions somewhere? Oh, can we start over?
This doesn't need to be on the show, but
You've turned that off.